Hi, my name is Dr. Sandeep Satsangi, and I'm a consultant hepatologist and liver transplant physician at Apollo Hospitals, Bangalore. Today, I'm going to talk about a very important entity called as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. First, I'm going to focus on very important things like terminology, the spectrum of NAFLD, the metabolic risk factors associated, and the diagnosis of NAFLD. Coming to the definition, NAFLD is considered when you have significant accumulation of fat in the liver in the absence of significant consumption of alcohol. Now, what do I mean by significant consumption of alcohol? It means that 30 grams per day of alcohol intake or less in males and 20 grams per day of alcohol consumption in females is the significant consumption of alcohol. So, anybody who has a higher consumption of alcohol than this cannot be considered as NAFLD. Now, here is an important fact that slowly we are moving to a newer definition called as MAFLD, which is metabolic associated fatty liver disease. What is the key important difference over here is that MAFLD can coexist with other liver diseases, unlike NAFLD, wherein you had to exclude a host of other liver diseases. But MAFLD can coexist with other liver diseases, especially if your patient is having underlying metabolic syndrome. Coming to the spectrum of NAFLD, it basically encompasses these four groups. One is plain steatosis, simple steatosis, called as non-alcoholic fatty liver. Second is called as NASH, which is non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. The third one is called as NASH-related cirrhosis of liver. And the fourth one is called as NASH-related hepatocellular carcinoma or NASH-related liver cancer. Coming to the prevalence, so talking and focusing on the Indian subcontinent, if you screen any 10 people outside, three of them are going to have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So the prevalence in general population is as high as 30%. This is even more disturbing if you focus on the high risk groups. The high risk groups are predominantly people who are obese or people who have type 2 diabetes mellitus. A very important key study from India, which was done in these high risk population, showed that the prevalence of NAFLD can be as high as 85 to 88%, which is very surprising and quite shocking. The good aspect, however, is that up to 90% of patients who are labeled as NAFLD will have the simple steatosis, that is the plain NAFL. That is the steatosis which is not causing a progressive liver damage. This has a very good prognosis and is not going to affect your life. But few of these people having NAFLD, that is approximately 10 to 30% of those patients having plain steatosis, simple steatosis, can start having swelling, that is inflammation in the liver, and can go on to develop what is called as non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. And it is this subgroup of patients who have NASH are at risk for progressive liver damage and liver-related mortality. That is the reason it is very important for the hepatologist to find out whether the patient who has presented to him with fatty liver comes in the plain simple steatosis group or in that group wherein the steatosis is actually causing inflammation and liver injury causing progressive liver damage. 25 to 40% of those people who have NASH can go on to progressive liver damage, what we call as scarring of the liver and cirrhosis of liver. They go into a stage of liver fibrosis and subsequently they go into a stage of liver cirrhosis. Once they develop liver cirrhosis, they are at the risk of two problems. The first problem is decompensation. The second group, wherein the cirrhosis can lead them to a risk of liver cancer, which is hepatocellular carcinoma. A very important key point to remember is that few people of NASH can even land up with hepatocellular carcinoma without going into a stage of cirrhosis. Usually, majority are going to go into cirrhosis first and then subsequently go into HCC, but there are some subset of patients who can just from NASH without going into cirrhosis can land up with liver cancer. This is a very important point. The other points are going to be that people of NASH not only are going to suffer from liver related mortality, but they are going to suffer from a very bad cardiovascular mortality. That means your patient who is having NASH is not only going to have liver related mortality, but his chances of dying are higher because of underlying cardiovascular mortality. So it is very important to have a holistic approach in treating these patients and not only considering liver, but also focusing on the heart. Number two, the metabolic risk factors. We were talking about what are the metabolic risk factors which are there, and this is classically called as metabolic syndrome. So, what do I mean by metabolic syndrome? Metabolic syndrome is basically encompasses so many conditions which put your patient at a risk of developing fatty liver. That is, presence of obesity, that is mainly central obesity, presence of impaired fasting glucose or diabetes mellitus, presence of hypertension, and presence of dyslipidemia. In dyslipidemia, what is more important to us is having elevated triglycerides and a reduced good cholesterol, which is reduced high density lipoprotein, reduced HDL. So, if a person has three out of these five components, he is said to have metabolic syndrome. A very important point to note is we can't use the cutoffs used in the Western population. Again, a very important point is going to be the genetic factors. It is very common for us to see that many times NASH and NAFLD runs in families. I have quite some patients in whom the father expired because of NASH related cirrhosis, and both the sons are actually having fatty liver and NASH. There are a lot of genetics. If I have to mainly focus on two or three important genes, the first important gene is called as PNPLA3, and the second important gene, especially in Indian patients, is called as ApoC3 gene. If you have any of the polymorphisms in these genes, your chance of actually landing up with NASH from NAFL is quite significant and quite high. Another important point which we see in Indian patients is lean NAFLD. What do I mean by lean NAFLD? That a person is going to look very lean to look at. His BMI is going to be less than 23, but he has fatty liver. These people, though they are lean, also have quite significant liver inflammation and can have NASH. It is postulated that they might have some genetic tendencies which is pushing them towards NASH. Coming to the diagnosis mainly relies on history of taking the history and clinical examination for all the risk factors of metabolic syndrome, like whether the patient is diabetic or not, what is the patient's BMI, whether the patient has central obesity or not, and looking at the patient's triglycerides and HDL. Radiologically, you need to look at the liver by assessing the steatosis, that is by ultrasound. There are a lot of non-invasive methods by which you can know that whether your patient is in the plain steatosis or a simple steatosis, or whether your patient has gone into a stage of NASH or fibrosis. Few to mention are the AST-ALT ratio, the APRI score, the NAFLD fibrosis score, and the FIB-4 score. It is very easy these days. We just have to go to our mobile phones. There's a very clear program. We just have to enter certain variables like AST, platelet count, and you're going to get the answers right in front of you. These cutoffs are going to help us tell that whether our patient is at any risk of a progressive liver damage. A very important modality which is gaining a lot of attention these days is called as transient elastography, which is called as FibroScan. Any patient of fatty liver who has a high FibroScan, for example, an LSM value of more than 8, would indicate that this patient might be having underlying hepatic fibrosis and would require urgent evaluation to assess the NASH in these patients. But we have to remember that the gold standard is only one, and that is biopsy. Biopsy is the only one way by which you can confirm that your patient is having NASH and not steatosis. In biopsy, just remember about three main points. Along with steatosis, if your patient has any one of these 3 points, ballooning of hepatocytes, Mallory highline, or fibrosis. So, along with steatosis, if even one of these components is there, then your patient is going to be labeled as non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. There are various scoring systems, but one of the scoring system is called as NAFLD activity scoring, which is called as the NAS score. So, based on this score, your liver pathologist is going to tell you that what is the predilection your patient is in NASH and what is the chance that this patient is going to develop a progressive liver injury. The diagnosis is very important because it holds the key for you to treat your patient with non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. Thank you.